Hey everyone, welcome back to the Metaphysics Podcast. Today we are going to be taking a deep dive into aligning with source energy.
It's really all about that transformative power
Yeah,
of changing your perspective and how that can really make a difference in your life.
absolutely. So before we kind of dive into all the details, let's talk about what source energy even is.
Right. So when we say source energy, we are talking about that universal force of well-being.
Okay.
Like that energy that connects everything.
Oh, okay.
And, when we talk about our vibration, we're really talking about our emotional state.
Uh-huh.
So when our vibration is high, we feel good. We attract more positive experiences into our lives.
Makes sense.
But when our vibration is low, well,
Then
we tend to attract more of what we don't want.
Yeah, exactly. And Abraham Hicks has this fascinating story that I think really perfectly illustrates this concept of source energy and shifting your perspective.
Oh, yeah, it's a great story.
It's about a stained patio.
About shifting your perspective from what's wrong to what feels better.
Exactly.
Even in a negative situation.
Yeah. So Esther, who channels Abraham Hicks, comes home to this beautiful new patio. She's super excited about it.
Yeah.
But then it rains and the patio stones get permanently stained.
Oh, no.
It was like a total mood killer.
Yeah.
And she tried everything to fix it, but nothing worked.
It's frustrating.
And then she decides to kind of approach this in a different way using the process that's outlined in the book, The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent.
Right. It's all about consciously shifting your focus.
So she identifies the problem. The stained patio acknowledges that negative emotion of feeling powerless over it.
Right.
And then she shifts her attention.
Yeah. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, she starts appreciating the beauty and the effort that's present in her surroundings.
Oh, interesting.
So, the craftsmanship of the fireplace, the love that went into renovating their cottage.
Okay.
It's about finding those glimmers of positivity, even in the midst of what seems like a negative situation.
I love that. And this is where it gets really interesting because Esther has this super rapid emotional shift.
Yes.
She goes from feeling completely deflated to feeling at peace. And then guess what happens?
What?
The washing machine backs up and floods the kitchen.
Oh, my God.
I know, right?
So it's like going from bad to worse.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
But Abraham Hicks teaches that this contrast, like this flooded kitchen, is actually essential for growth and expansion.
Right. It's not about life always being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the ups and downs.
Yeah, it's almost like the universe was testing Esther to see if she would stay in that higher vibration even when faced with a new challenge.
Exactly. And because she had shifted her energy, she was able to handle the flood with a sense of calm.
Okay.
It didn't derail her progress.
That's so powerful.
That's the power of aligning with source energy.
Yeah.
When we're in alignment, challenges become less daunting.
Right.
It's not about avoiding problems altogether. It's about navigating them with more ease and grace.
Okay, so this isn't about pretending everything is perfect or like ignoring the negative.
No, not at all. It's about acknowledging the contrast, the challenges, and then consciously choosing to focus on what feels better.
Got it.
It's a practice. It's a skill that we can develop over time.
This is so relatable because I think we all get caught up in the negative aspects of a situation sometimes.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah, we fixate on what's wrong, and it just perpetuates those feelings of powerlessness.
Absolutely. And when we do that, we're essentially resisting the natural flow of well-being, that source energy that we talked about.
Right.
It's like being in a boat and paddling upstream. It takes so much effort, and the journey is so much harder.
Yeah.
But if we align with the current, we can move forward with more ease and joy.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
Okay, so aligning with source energy is kind of like going with the flow.
Exactly. And remember, Abraham Hicks talks about how we are creators, not just observers.
Right.
We're not here to simply react to life, but to actively shape it with our thoughts and emotions.
So that stained patio and then the flood, those weren't just random events.
Right.
They were opportunities for Esther to practice this alignment.
Exactly. Every experience that we have, whether it seems good or bad, is an opportunity to practice aligning with what we truly want.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good place to leave it for now.
Sounds good. And that brings us to this really powerful tool that Abraham Hicks introduces.
Okay.
The Book of Positive Aspects.
Okay.
It's all about training our minds to see the good even when things feel challenging.
So tell me more about this Book of Positive Aspects.
Yeah, so it might sound a little counterintuitive, but focusing on the positive aspects of a person or situation, even seemingly small ones, can really help to bridge the gap between where we are emotionally and where we want to be.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's about shifting our vibration to align with what we desire.
So what if you're dealing with a really difficult situation? Like, how can you find something positive when you're feeling completely overwhelmed?
Right, that's where the real work comes in. It's about consciously choosing to look for those glimmers of positivity, even if they seem insignificant at first.
Okay.
It's not about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect.
Yeah.
It's about actively searching for those aspects that feel a little bit better.
Okay, so let's go back to Esther's story for a moment.
Okay.
If we were to apply this book of positive aspects to her stained patio situation,
Uh-huh.
what might that look like?
Well, instead of focusing on the permanent stains, she could have acknowledged the beauty of the patio itself. The
Ah,
fact that she had a patio to enjoy in the first place.
yeah.
Maybe she could have appreciated the time and effort that the landscapers put into creating it,
Yeah.
even if the outcome wasn't what she expected.
Right, so it's about shifting the focus away from the problem and
Mhm.
towards something that feels a little bit better,
Exactly.
like finding that silver lining.
Exactly. And even if it feels a little forced at first,
Yeah.
the more you practice, the easier it becomes.
Okay.
It's like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So you're saying that finding positive aspects isn't about ignoring the negative, but rather about consciously choosing to focus on something that feels better in the moment.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
It's about taking back your power and choosing how you want to feel, regardless of the circumstances.
I like that.
And as you practice this, you'll find that your overall vibration starts to rise,
Uh-huh.
and you'll begin to attract more positive experiences into your life.
This makes me think about a quote I once heard.
Okay.
What you focus on expands.
Oh, that's a good one.
If we're constantly focusing on the negative, it's no wonder we feel stuck.
Right.
But if we can shift our attention to the positive, even in small ways, we can start to change our experience of reality.
That's such a powerful insight, and it's something that we can all do regardless of our circumstances.
Yeah.
We all have the power to choose where we place our focus.
Right.
It's about becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions and making conscious choices about what we want to cultivate.
This reminds me of something we touched on earlier about how Abraham Hicks emphasizes that we're creators, not just observers.
Yes,
We have the ability to shape our reality with our thoughts and emotions.
exactly. And the Book of Positive Aspects is such a powerful tool for doing just that.
Okay.
It helps us to become more conscious creators to align our energy with what we want to experience rather than what we want to avoid.
So how can our listeners start implementing this in their own lives?
That's a great question.
It sounds great in theory, but what are some practical steps?
Well, one simple thing you can do is just grab a notebook and start writing down positive aspects of people or situations that are causing you stress or frustration.
Okay.
It could be something as simple as, this experience is teaching me patience, or I'm grateful for the support I have from my friends.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's about creating that shift in perspective, even if it's just a small one.
And remember, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering. Even a small shift in perspective can make a difference. And the more you practice, the more natural it will become to see the good in every situation.
Like we're training our brains to look for the positive rather than getting stuck in the negative.
Exactly.
And I imagine that this can have a ripple effect on other areas of our lives as well.
Absolutely. As you raise your vibration and align with source energy, you start attracting more positive experiences into your life. It's not about forcing things to happen, but rather about becoming a vibrational match to your desires.
This is fascinating stuff.
I know, right?
We've covered a lot of ground so far. Is there anything else you want to add about the Book of Positive Aspects before we move on?
I think the most important thing to remember is that it's a practice, not a one-time fix.
Okay.
It takes time and effort to shift your perspective, but the rewards are well worth it.
Okay. So we've been talking about this idea of shifting our perspective,
Sure.
focusing on the positive even when things are tough,
Yeah.
aligning with source energy, raising our vibration.
Right, and how the Book of Positive Aspects can really be like a powerful tool
Yeah.
for doing that.
It's about training our minds to see the good, even in challenging situations.
Exactly. And as we practice this, we start to attract more positive experiences into our lives.
This is where it gets really empowering because it's like we're not just victims of circumstance.
Right.
We have the ability to actually shape our reality by choosing where we place our focus.
Exactly. It's about becoming conscious creators of our own experience.
I know some of our listeners might be thinking okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually apply this in my everyday life?
That's a great question.
What are some practical steps?
Yeah, it's about making it a habit.
Yeah.
Integrating these principles into our daily routines.
So it's not just about like having a one-time epiphany.
Right.
It's about insistent effort.
It's like anything else that we want to master.
Yeah.
It takes practice and dedication.
Can you give us an example of what this might look like in a real-life situation?
Absolutely. So let's say you're stuck in traffic and you're feeling frustrated.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on all of the negative aspects like being late or feeling trapped, you could choose to shift your attention.
Okay, so what would be like a positive aspect in that scenario?
Well, you could use the time to listen to your favorite podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You could appreciate the fact that you have a car to drive in the first place.
Right.
Maybe you could even use that time for quiet reflection or meditation.
I see what you mean. It's about finding those like little glimmers of positivity, even in seemingly mundane or frustrating situations.
Exactly. And as you practice this, you'll be amazed at how your perspective just starts to shift. You'll start to see the world through a more positive lens.
And I imagine that this can have like a ripple effect on other areas of your life as well.
Absolutely. It's about raising your overall vibration, which in turn attracts more positive experiences.
So it's not about forcing things to happen, but rather about becoming a vibrational match to what you desire.
That's right. It's about aligning yourself with the natural flow of well-being that source energy provides.
This has been such a great conversation.
Yeah, it's been fun.
We've really just scratched the surface of this topic.
There's so much more to explore.
But we encourage our listeners to kind of delve deeper into Abraham Hicks' teachings.
Yes.
And, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What resonated with you most during this deep dive? Have you had any experiences with aligning with source energy or using the book of positive aspects? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below.
And remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
It's about continually expanding our awareness and aligning ourselves with our highest good.
Thank you for joining us on the Metaphysics Podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Until next time, keep those vibrations high.